Every 2 years, the Paris Motor Show opens its doors to the world. And this edition again sees fuel economy and efficiency in the front seat. That also goes for the Panamera Sport Turismo study car from Porsche. It's almost 5 meters long and is a shooting brake model with a hybrid drive system. Its top speed on pure electric power is 130 kilometers per hour and has a battery range of over 30 kilometers. Porsche used to be primarily one thing, says our car expert Matis Kurat, sporty. The car maker revealed a more practical side in the 1990s with the Cayenne off-roader. It was a shock for some of the hardcore Porsche community, but a huge success too. Then came the Panamera in 2009. Again, there was skepticism over the sedan, but it likewise proved a winner. And now this station wagon-looking study in Paris. No doubt there will again be critics who predict it will bomb, but Matis reckons this beauty will be a blast.
Aber ich sage voraus, wenn dieses Auto kommt, wird es ein Erfolg.
Porsche is also unveiling the new 911 Carrera 4 and Carrera 4S in Paris in coupe and convertible versions. The rear axle bias for the all-wheel drive system is the German carmaker's standard solution for guaranteeing scintillating driving dynamics and traction in diverse weather conditions. The new Golf 7 is the biggest automotive premiere of the year. It's the first Volkswagen to be based on the modular transverse platform, designed to simplify production and keep the price down. Among the toughest competitors for the new Golf is the 2013 Seat Leon, made by VW's Spanish subsidiary, of course. The new Leon basically offers pretty much the same thing as a Golf, says Matis, albeit with a bit more visual flair and temperament. The crisp Spaniard is also based on the modular transverse matrix, which means less weight and more dynamic handling. It's 90 kilos lighter than its predecessor. That in turn translates into lower fuel consumption. The first model will have a new 110 kilowatt power diesel engine, estimated to need just 4 liters of fuel for 100 kilometers. Suzuki is in Paris to unveil the S-Cross concept car, an SUV aimed at the C segment. As the name suggests, it has the dimensions and spaciousness of a compact class car, combined with an off-roader look. It will be built at the carmaker's plant in Esztergom, Hungary, explained Suzuki's Jörg Makalitsky. So it's going to be a European model, and an important one for the market here. Mazda presents an all-new station wagon edition of the popular Mazda 6. New on board are a range of safety features, such as adaptive cruise control and an active braking guard. And it's no surprise to see fuel consumption and CO2 emissions significantly reduced. It was specifically designed for the European market, explains the carmaker's PR man. The sedan is more of a global product for the US, China, or Japan, but the station wagon is aimed at Europe because of the tradition for them there, especially in Germany. Jaguar presents the F-Type, expected to hit the road in the summer of 2013. The initial edition will be a roadster. With a price tag of $73,400, it isn't cheap, but is still something of a bargain compared to the 911 or Aston Martin DB9. What's more, it's said to match that dynamic duo in terms of performance and feel at the wheel. Visitors to the Paris show can also check out the new Range Rover. The revamped flagship model of Land Rover comes out early next year. The design of the new generation is an evolutionary step forward from its predecessor. It's a completely new product, explains Land Rover's Peter Modelhart, and the first SUV worldwide to feature an all-aluminum chassis. So it's now 420 kilos lighter. The handling is all new, and the fuel and performance stats are fantastic, he adds. The interior is a marriage of the traditional and the contemporary. The new Range Rover has a more grandiose look than its predecessor. The overall quality is top caliber. BMW has its sights on the premium compact segment, and its concept Active Turb is intended to introduce new plug-in hybrid technology to the class. The prototype includes the eDrive concept familiar from the i8. The label is set to encompass all of the car maker's future electric and hybrid solutions. The Mercedes B-Class is out to impress on the economy front with a new natural gas-powered edition. It promises lower CO2 emissions and lower fuel costs. The new version of the small car goes on the market in early 2013. A very sensible car, concludes Mattes, but if you want something more on the wild side, look over there, and you'll see a Mercedes SLS AMG electric drive. This car runs 100% on electric power and demonstrates that you can have plenty of fun at the wheel without taking too great a toll on the environment.
Dass Fahrspaß in enormer Form nicht unbedingt auf Kosten der Umwelt gehen muss.
Today, car tester Sascha Knapp is presenting the new Opel Astra, or rather the facelifted Opel Astra. In this case, Opel has really done a lot to the car's front features. It's also had a tuck or two at the rear. The fourth Astra variant, the sedan, is supposed to compete with VW's Jetta, but Sascha isn't yet convinced you'll be seeing many of them on German streets. Opel plans to sell 60% of its output in Russia. This test model packs a 96-kilowatt ecoFLEX diesel motor. Sascha thinks it's a little too loud, but Opel claims it's extremely economical. And that it is. In comparison, the slightly more powerful Jetta diesel burns 4.8 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. The Astra sedan needs half a liter less. The Innovation Line version we tested cost just under 27,500 euros in Germany. So what's new? Well, the indicators have been moved. They're now integrated into the bumpers. The chrome and updated headlights are now typical looks for the Astra platform. The lattice design of the grille was inspired by the Astra OPC. One sporty touch is a small rear spoiler on the trunk lid. Opel's engineers have done a great job on the rear of the car, says Sascha. The stretched C-pillar makes the trunk look small, but it's bigger than you think. It can be opened with a remote, and you can fit a good couple of suitcases in there. If you need more capacity, dropping the rear seats provides over 1,000 liters of cargo space. The trunk can only be opened with the remote, by the way, or via a button inside, and there are plenty of those in the Astra interior. Believe it or not, Opel was praised by the German auto press not long ago for the 50-plus buttons it put on Astra's central console. The reason for the praise was that in models that use rotary controls, drivers have to navigate through lots of submenus, and that can be dangerously distracting. Experienced drivers know instantly in the Astra where the function is and aren't distracted for long. The sedan is primarily aimed at markets in Eastern and Southern Europe. The problem Opel always has, says Sascha, is that the really interesting markets are blocked by its parent company General Motors. He likes the Astra, though. The engine isn't the best, but he's seen far worse. The body isn't made for the German market, and he prefers other variants. But all in all, he thinks it's a solid car. The new Fiat 500, called the Abarth 695 Tributo Ferrari, sees the Italian car maker harking back to the successful collaboration between Carlo Abarth and Enzo Ferrari in the 1960s. It runs like a real thoroughbred as well. And no wonder. They've increased the engine's power output by almost a third. Lancia has introduced its new executive sedan, the Thema. It's based on the Chrysler 300's new LX rear drive platform. With 3 different equipment packages and 2 engines, future Thema owners have plenty of choice. The basic version goes on sale in Germany for just over 41,000 euros. You can't buy snacks, get a coffee, or go to the restroom here. You can't even get regular gas at this gas station. The one thing you can do is pump natural gas. Eberhard Malke has been doing just that for years. Eberhard's vehicle, when fully loaded, gets 10 cents to the kilometer using natural gas. No truck can top that. He's a regular at this gas station, and he has to be. There are not a lot of alternatives. Inconvenient, but the prices can't be beat. 99 cents for a kilo of natural gas. That is the equivalent of 61 cents per liter of super unleaded. And natural gas packs a bigger punch than petrol. More miles for your money. But it's not always that simple, says Eberhard. You do save in fuel costs and overheads, but cars that run on natural gas have higher prices, and it's difficult to find a station where you can tank up, and driving that bit extra costs extra money. At the end of the day, you don't save as much as you imagine. 2 years ago, Johannes Homberg converted his Mercedes to use liquefied gas, and he's happy with the results. Johannes now gets more mileage to the liter than a comparable E-Class diesel. A visit to the mechanic shop shows what type of cars are getting revamped. Switching over to liquid gas engines will save drivers of these gas guzzlers a lot of money at the pump. Johannes comes here every 2 years to get his tank inspected and certified for leaks. As he is waiting, he gets the oil checked. Natural gas engines run extremely cleanly. Good for your wallet and the environment. If he changed the oil today, he could drive 20,000 kilometers and still not need to change it again. A growing number of small car owners are switching over to liquid gas as well. Regular drivers are tired of rising petrol prices and come in to see if they should upgrade to an LPG tank. In most cases, they can, as long as there is enough room under the hood for an extra tank. This mechanic always advises customers with relatively new cars to get an LPG tank put in. If they're already clocked up 200,000 kilometers, he tells them it's not worth the extra investment. The investment amounts to around 2,400 euros. For a natural gas engine, the cost jumps to 3,400 euros. A liter of liquid gas runs cheaper than natural gas, but don't let that fool you. Given the savings over regular petrol, these engines pay for themselves after around 50,000 kilometers. If you take into account the extra mileage you get out of natural gas, it's the better investment. A natural gas engine will save its driver around 9,000 euros every 200,000 kilometers. That's why truck driver Eberhard Malke switched to natural gas, and also because natural gas engines emit less carbon dioxide. Currently, there are only 15 models on the market, but more are on the way. Both Volkswagen and Opel have new models in the pipeline. Eberhard is interested in the Opel Zafira, but the dealer doesn't have the natural gas model, and that means no test drive. Apparently, there's not enough demand. Customers can find more information in the brochure, but otherwise, there doesn't seem to be a hard promotional push. Both natural gas and liquid gas engines can save car owners money and be good to the environment. A no-brainer for frequent drivers like Eberhard. But there's the rub. In Germany, 1 in 2 petrol stations stock liquefied gas, but only 1 in 13 offer natural gas. That means drivers with gas engines have to plan ahead. In some countries like Austria and Switzerland, it's easy to drive a natural gas car. And then there are places like France and Spain where it's really inconvenient. In Denmark, it's practically impossible to find a natural gas pump. Luckily, all natural gas cars also have a petrol engine to resort to. And unlike regular car drivers, they can benefit from state subsidies on natural gas, which in Germany currently run through 2018.
Herr Göttmann?
Peter Göttmann is the proud owner of a 1954 Chevrolet Bel Air. Unfortunately, someone drove into its side recently, and spare parts are thin on the ground in this rural part of southern Germany. But it's still a beauty to behold.
Ja, gerne. Dann müssen Sie mal rausfahren, bitte. Ja, mach ich.
The Bel Air is one of those automobiles that could only have been made in America. Massive dimensions, chrome galore, and with styling straight out of the space race era. Peter bought the 1954 Chevy for his music club a couple of years ago. The club is now history, but he still has the car. Amazingly, it's still in original condition, both inside and outside. It was imported in 1997. Peter bought it off a dealer in Frankfurt, but it had just one owner from 1954 to 1997. Our carman can't wait to get this rarity out on the road. You'd be hard-pushed to find a Bel Air in good condition anywhere, even in the U.S. A lot of the surviving vehicles are apparently just piles of parts. But even complete wrecks change hands for huge sums across the Atlantic. Bel Air literally means good air, a joke considering the car's fuel economy. Cruising like this cost Peter some 25 liters of fuel for 100 kilometers. Thorsten is shocked. Does Peter at least use the car for everyday purposes? Not really, he says, but the front seat bench is great because he can drive with both his boys up front. You don't see that with modern cars. The upholstery is also old school. You could turn it into a couch at home, says Peter. Peter proudly presents another real gem, a notebook belonging to the original owner that he found in the glove compartment. It's a detailed logbook of all those old journeys in the U.S. He actually made a note of every single trip, as well as every oil change and new spark plug, all the way back to 1954. What's missing, unfortunately, is the driver's identity. Whatever his name, Peter reckons he was pretty particular. And there's likewise no record of what music he listened to while out on the road. And Peter has an interesting Elvis collection. But how big a fan is he? Big enough, he originally wanted to name his son Elvis, but his family was against the idea. Instead, he called him Aaron, Elvis's second name. Thorsten is now eager to hear the king, and he wants to drive. Embellishing the front of the hood is the trademark chrome jet, also a handy navigation aid because the wheels don't always point ahead when they ought to. Technically, this baby is an old-timer. Thorsten finds the steering, well, less than precise. Peter's had problems getting the car to pass inspection tests. Thorsten notes the thickness of the bodywork, which must be handy in collisions. Indeed, but it makes the car really heavy, even if also more stable. Thorsten heard that Elvis used to shoot at his cars when something didn't work. That was Elvis, says Peter. That wildness was what made his music so special, and he likes it. There are 3 things we wouldn't wish on this Bel Air owner: costly collisions, fuel price hikes, and bad Elvis imitators. Andy King knows his craft, however. He often comes to the Elvis parties held here. Friends refer to it as their very own local Graceland.
Why can't you see? Oh, what you doing to me?
Apparently, Peter wants to sell the Bel Air because he simply doesn't use it enough. He doesn't have any takers yet, however. No wonder, given the asking price of 26,000 euros for the battered old Bel Air. Although this king of the road will always be a timeless classic.